FlossTube friends. I'm Sherry, Colorado Cross Stitcher here on YouTube, also on Instagram, and I have a shop at coloradocrossstitcher.com. And this is Oliver, Ollie for short, and I know a lot of you like to see him, so I try and bring him in the video every once in a while. Today he was hiding under the couch because the doorbell rang, and that's very scary when the doorbell rings, so I had to bribe him out with a can of chicken. Not that he eats it, but he likes the sound of it and he gets a little piece. So anyway, this is my channel about my own personal cross stitching with a little bit of shop news at the end. And I'm also talking about cat fabric today. So I thought that was a good tie-in to bring Oliver into the video. Do you want to say hi? Not really. He wants to go. All right. Thanks for being here. Okay, so I have had Start-itis this past 4 weeks since I last FlossTubed. I'm just starting all the things. I finished things too. I've been stitching, upcoming birds of a feather patterns, and I did finish, I call it the, let's see, how did I phrase that? The biggest small finish I've ever done. That just means I spent a lot of time on it. So I have all of that, and I have, of course, a giveaway from last time, new things to show you. So let's jump in. So first of all, my biggest, smallest finish. I say that because this took an inordinate, oh wait, first I have to show you my calendar. Then I'll show you my big, small finish. So calendar for all of my stitching projects. Let's see. I notice I'm not putting as many stickers in here as I do in past years. Still stickers, but not as many stickers. So here's March, here's April. I don't know, I may go ahead and add more stickers later, but I'm just happy to be keeping it up. I need to keep that close by in case I need to look stuff up for you. Okay, my biggest, smallest finish is this country store. Here's the pattern by Told in a Garden. Comes in a little thing like this. Told in a Garden, it's no longer available, but it has so much stitching in one little spot. I mean, it's like full coverage and part of it. And then the other reason it took so long is because there's, and I love this about this little piece, but there's so many jars and bottles and hanging plants and baskets and quilts and everything you'd find in an old country store. But it means you're stitching like 3 stitches and then you change colors. And it was also hand symboled, as they did back in the day. So that just takes, I think, a little more concentration. I don't think it's a problem to show you this because I'm only showing you about a little part of it, but it just takes a little more concentration, I think, to follow along with a hand symboled chart. Anyway, I did it on 40 count weeks linen, the color linen, and here it is. And again, I love having it done. I love the look of it. So many little details in there. So I've ordered the frame, and I told you guys before when I was working on this that I have fond memories of, not a country store because I've never been in a country store, but my grandma had a little country store, not a dollhouse. I'm going to show it to you when I get this framed, just so you can see what I'm talking about. It is about this big, and it was set up to look like a country store, but it had little drawers that I would fill with different beans and lentils and things she had in her kitchen. So that's why I have fond memories of country stores, and that's one of the reasons I did this one. So again, happy to be finished with it. Can't wait to have it framed. And glad that it's done. probably would not do it again. So that was a good finish. And I will show it to you again when I get it framed. I can't remember. I think I got a navy, ordered a navy frame. So, all right, put that over here. And then starts my Start-itis. So the next thing I started was Flag Folk, which I wanted to do since last summer when I saw it done up. I did want to darken up the red and the blue, have it look a little less primitive in color. It's still, obviously the motifs are primitive, and I love that. I think I'm gonna leave out the words "we are." It says "we are" there, we are Flag Folk. And then also, if you see on the edges, they're little scalloped edges. Most of them are empty. They filled in a couple. And I decided to fill all of mine in with red and blue. So I'm gonna let you look at the pattern one more time, and then I'll show you what I've done. So here is my start. And I used, let's see, Fathom, and I changed out Fathom, collards, collard greens. Collards, that looks funny. You know how you look at a word sometimes and it doesn't look like you think it should be pronounced. So collards, Fathom, and Lancaster red are the three that I replaced in here. And then you can see around the borders how I just filled that in with a line of red, like I followed along the scallop line with red, and then with blue. I did the red on the bottom, the blue on the top. I did outline it with whatever they asked you to outline it with. It might be collards actually, but then I filled it in. And also I kept mine going all the way around. So down here on this corner, I just made it so that went all the way around, because on the pattern, they have something else in that corner. I'm not sure what it was. So I just decided to keep the border going all the way around. So I should be able to finish that in not too long. All I have to do are the couple whatever's between them, a little plant in between. Well, I guess I have a little bit. All right, so, but that was fun to start, and I would love to get that. Well, it'd be nice to get it framed before this summer. This one I'm calling a start, but I actually had started it, but I'd only done like 20 stitches of one branch. So I did a little more, and the colors on this are gorgeous. This is Abalonia's Apple Tree by Artsy Housewife. And I love foxes. I was sitting in bed one Sunday morning, I think it was a Sunday morning, having coffee. And we have a patio door like right across from the bed, and I was looking out the patio door because something caught my attention. I'm like, oh, there's a dog out there. And then I realized, oh my gosh, it's a red fox. So that was cool. I've only seen a red fox in our neighborhood probably a couple times since we moved here, which was 2011, so 14 years. And he was right outside on the patio. It was very cool. So I really love red foxes. So this is the pattern. And look at these beautiful, beautiful colors. Isn't that pretty? Let's see, I have 3 apples done, and there's 5 apples. And the border's pretty intense. Look at the border on that. So, I mean, I'm gonna do it because I think it's really pretty, but I just love the colors on this one. Can't wait to get back to that. I know you're gonna ask me what fabric I did that on and what fabric I did Flag Folk. Let's see. Abalonia is on Antiquity by number 12 Stitch Co. That's an Australian company. And then Flag Folk, did I write it down? Flag Folk is on Overcast by Cedar River, which I love. It was so fun to add Cedar River to the shop a few weeks ago. You guys bought almost all of it out, so we've got another big order in with them, but we'll be getting those orders regularly, but just such beautiful fabrics. Okay, and then my next start was this one, which I've shown you before because I've wanted to start it for quite some time. I don't want to do it as a pocket, so I'm just going to do it and frame it because I want to get more long and narrow frames. I like having a wall of samplers, or someday I'll have a wall of samplers at my house. Right now they're all at the shop. But when I envision that, I want different sizes. I don't want all of the framed pieces to be the same size. So I want some smaller pieces. I want some longer, narrower pieces, because then when you put them together on your wall, I just think that's a little more interesting to look at. So this is one of those pieces that's going to be longer and narrower, which I'm really looking forward to. So not that it's not really cute as a pocket, and if I used such things, that would be really fun. The thing I like about this pattern is it comes with an extra page of an extra alphabet in case you want to put your initials, and then extra motifs if you want to sprinkle it in. So I want you to look at this top right here, because that's where I added my extra motifs, and then I'll show you my start. So this is on 36 count Graveyard Mist by Lap and Loops. And here's my start. And I'm using the called for colors. That's one of the things I liked about this pattern was the color palette. I just thought that was really pretty. And so the black, okay, this little vine here, and the heart, that was already on the pattern. And then I took the two heart and hands and put those at the top. I took two cats, put them at the bottom, and then I added just some of these little more quilty motifs just to kind of fill it in. Since it's not going to be a flap, I wanted more interest at the top of this. And then when I frame it, I'll just frame it in a long rectangle and just have that arch at the top, which I think will be pretty. It's actually fun to stitch, and it's going pretty quick. Those letters go pretty quickly. I didn't even look to see if they were supposed to be, what do you call those? Where you all go into the Algerian eyes. I didn't even look to see. You could stitch them that way, and I usually enjoy stitching that, but I just wanted to get more color on there quicker. So I don't know if I'll add my initials. I may add my initials. I was looking at the piece to see where I could do that, and I guess there are a couple places if I leave out other motifs. I don't know that where that heart is in the middle, that black heart, dark heart. I may put initials in there instead, since I have hearts at the top. So it's been fun to work on. Now I want to go back to all of these pieces. And then I inherited a whip that is special to me. So here is the pattern by GGR. I love those birds. And boy, are they colorful. When you look at the pattern to stitch it, there are a lot of colors going on in those birds. I love the flower pots at the top. So let's see. I thought I had figured out what this fabric is, and now I can't remember. Is it Butter Pecan or Vintage Butter Pecan by Lakeside? I'm not sure. Anyway, it's 56 count, and here's my, so when I got it, well, first let me show it to you. When I got it, it had this, no, this flower pot done, and then the border over to here and part of the first row. So I've done quite a bit. 56 count, and I'm telling you, when you go back to 40 count after 56 count, 40 count looks huge and very easy to do. My eyes did get used to it, and what I love about 56 count is I just think it looks like a little miniature treasure. I mean, it looks so exquisite, just like a little tapestry. More so on small fabrics, I think, than the larger ones, which doesn't mean you need to stitch on small fabrics. It's just a different look that I like. So it was really nice to work on. And I will get back to that, and I'm assuming I have enough, yeah, fabric for the rest of it, because I really only had the top third done. There's still 2/3 more, all the fun stuff down there. Not that those words were fun to do too, because I love the color changes in there. So those are most of what I worked on this month, but I have a few more things to show you too. All right, let's go to camp. So I have been doing cross stitch camp. I think this is year number, well, I can look. I was gonna say year number 5. I think, yep, 21, 22, 23, 24, 20. That's our 5th year. And usually we also do a winter, 1-month winter cross stitch camp in February. We did not this year because I had to figure out a new way to share photos. We've been sharing photos on Instagram using hashtag, and I'd still love to do that because I think that is a good way for people to maybe come across it. You know, I think hashtags work some of the time, but it doesn't work as thoroughly as I need it to work when I'm trying to track everybody's progress and do drawings for prizes each month. So cross stitch camp is virtual. I used to own a yarn shop, the Loopy U, and I started doing cross stitch camp, yarn camp, knitting camp. I started back in 2011. Was that right? 2011 with Loopy Summer Camp. And so I just thought it would be fun to do that in the cross stitch community too. So that's why I started it in 2021. So each time we do it, I design a little badge, little camp badge, so that if you would like to stitch the camp badge, you can do that. I know it's only April, but I'm talking to you about it now because I'm not going to be back to you until the end of May with a FlossTube, and you'll already have had to make your decisions by then and maybe already do your badge. So I designed the badge. I mistakenly did it on too small of fabric, not too small. So I knew the size I wanted it to be. I had like this much space left on the front of my project bag. What I do is I stitch my badge each time and I put it onto the front of my camp project bag. And I love that. And I'll tell you about how I do that too. But I had this much, like this much space. So I thought, well, I'm gonna do it on 25 count over 1. That doesn't mean you need to do your badge on that. You do your badge whatever size you want. So I wanted to do it on Country Mocha. I got the fabric. I sat down, I started stitching the border, not even paying attention, and then realized that I was stitching on, I think it's 32 count linen over 1. So it's tiny, but as it turns out, it was just the size I needed. So mine's small, but don't let that intimidate you because you can do it on 14 count, you can do it on 32 count, you can do it on whatever count you want. So this year I have a house, an evergreen, and stars, and I'll show you this. Up in this right here is the new badge. And then I'll pull back so you can see the other badges. I have a whole back that I can continue to put badges on, but I don't know, I just wanted to finish off this little space here. So all of these badges are still on our website. They're all under the free patterns if you're interested in any of them. And I think some of them are cute on their own, even without putting the cross stitch camp on there if you want to do them just for fun. So anyway, this is the badge. When you go to our website, use the drop down arrow to the right of the word patterns, and you can drop down and click on free patterns, and you'll find it under 2025 Summer Stitch Camp Badge. This is what it'll look like when you print it out. And it takes 4 colors. You can use any 4 colors you want. I wanted to make my house this teal with a darker roof. You can pick any color you want with a darker roof. And then I stitched yellow in the windows because the lights are on. Because I stitch a lot at night. So that is the camp badge for this year. Now when I come back, I'm hoping to be back with a FlossTube in 4 weeks, which would be the last or the 3rd week in May, which I'll talk about camp a little bit more then too, but I want you to start thinking about the challenges. So camp is virtual, it's free, it doesn't cost anything, everybody can participate, there's no purchase required. Although of course we always appreciate your purchases, but this is just something for the cross-stitching community that I've had fun doing. And so let's talk about the challenges for this year. So it starts June 1st. And on June 1st, or anytime thereafter, I want you to take a picture of your supplies, your pattern cover. Don't show the pattern itself, just the pattern cover, the fabric and the floss, just so we know that was a brand new project for you. We're going to have an add an app to the website that will allow you to post your picture in a photo gallery on our website. And that's how I'm going to keep track of who's participating, who has done a start and a finish photo, who I'm going to be drawing names from. I have so many prizes, you guys, to give away this year. So you all have been so generous in donating beautiful project bags and excess patterns from your stash. And so everybody who wins, and I typically do 8 drawings a month. Let's see, how do I do that? 2 drawings for everybody who participated and 6 drawings for people who participated and finished in the month. And so each bag is filled with a lot of patterns, and it's always fun to draw the winners. So we will be putting those on our website. You will be putting them on. It's very easy to do. My daughter came up with found this app for me, and she assures me it's easy. So we'll talk more about that in May. But just an FYI, so don't start your project till June 1st. You want to plan ahead so you have all your supplies based on the challenge, but don't start it till June 1st. And then there's a challenge in June, a challenge in July, and a challenge in August. You can participate 1 month, you can do all 3 months. You don't have to finish. You can just start to start along with everybody. It's very laid back. So let's talk about our challenges. So our challenge for June is to stitch a pattern that has a motif for either day or night, depending on whether you're mostly a nighttime stitcher or a daytime stitcher. So for example, if you're a nighttime stitcher, you might find a pattern that has an owl in it, or the moon, or I don't know, what else could be? Stars for the nighttime. So pick a pattern that has nighttime motifs, or at least one nighttime motif, or a pattern that you can add a nighttime motif to. If you're a daytime stitcher, I think the patterns are a little more open-ended because you could do the sun, flowers, animals, all kinds of daytime things. So I always want to make the challenges open-ended enough that you don't have a hard time finding something to do, but also just fun to think, well, I got to look for something in particular, because I think that's kind of fun. So the June challenge is stitch a pattern and include either a nighttime motif or a daytime motif, depending on when you stitch the most. All right, July, sometimes when I go through these, I think, well, what do I want to stitch this summer? And what do I have time to stitch this summer? Hang on, I have to have a drink. So July is stitch a pattern from your favorite designer. So maybe you've got something at market that you haven't started yet that you want to stitch, or I don't know, you know, with our favorite designers, we probably have a ton of their patterns that we haven't done. So look in your stash or buy something new if you want to. But July is stitch a pattern from your favorite designer. August is always the same because I always want to encourage you guys to try something new. So August is try something new. So stitch a new designer to you, or a new fabric, or a new count, or a new floss, or a new technique, or a new kind of finish, something new that will let you outside of your box a little bit and encourage you in a new direction. So those are the 3 challenges. We'll talk a little bit more about it in May when I come back. Just in case things get crazy and I'm not able to FlossTube again in May, I wanted to announce it now, but also so you have plenty of time to pull it together. All right, so the camp badge again is on the website. It's a free pattern to download. And oh, I wanted to tell you how I put the badges on my project bag. So I use this Steam-a-Seam. Any double-sided fusible interfacing or tape works. So this comes out like this. And it's sticky enough that it sticks onto what you put it on, and then you take the backing paper off. There we go. And you're left with that little piece of adhesive, and when you iron it, it melts on both sides, so it holds the badge and it sticks onto the bottom. So I just run several pieces of this all the way across my badge and then iron it on, take the backing off and then iron it on down. This will last me forever because this is all I use it for, is badges each year. So Steam-a-Seam, this is Steam-a-Seam Light. I don't think it matters. And that's easy. It is kind of fun to put things on a bag. And even if you don't have, like, if you don't do camp with us, think about maybe stitching some of your favorite motifs to put on your bags. Because I think it's kind of a fun look and it really personalizes things for you. I finished the edges with the nun stitch. Let me see. Maybe this one would be easier to see because it's dark green. It's just a really pretty finish, and it means that you can then cut down. I usually cut my piece down to like 4 squares outside of the nun stitch all the way around, and then I unravel it down to the nun stitch, and the nun stitch is just a nice finishing edge for that. I didn't want to have to do hems and all of that stuff. I just wanted it to be easy. And I have used this now for 5 years, every summer, all summer long, and I don't find that it wears too hard on the ruffled edges or anything. So fun to do. Whether you're doing camp or not, you might give it a try. Okay, last night I started yet another project. Find my threads here, there. So this came in the mail yesterday, Stitching Quaker, which, you know, I love all these Quakers, and I love this one. I love the colors. So, but it calls for color and cotton, which I don't carry, and it gives a DMC alternative. So I pulled the DMCs, and then I pulled Weeks Dye Works to not really match, coordinate. Like my teals are a lot tealier because I love these 2 colors of teal. So my teals are going to be tealier than this. Is really a light blue and a medium blue. The other colors are pretty much the same, and I will tell you all of my colors. I can tell you now, but I'm not confirmed on it yet. All right, so I have Bright Leaf, Kentucky Bluegrass, Seafoam, Pelican Gray, Liquid Gold, Madison Rose, Grasshopper, Turkish Red, and B5200. So those are the colors I think that I'm going to use. And I say I think because I started this last night and I went and looked at it this morning. That's pretty, isn't that pretty? I went and looked at the piece this morning. All I did was the outline of this big red medallion. And I looked at it this morning and I didn't like it on the color I was using. I was using a Weeks Cocoa, or one of the darker Weeks colors that I do a lot of the birthday cats on, because that matches the fabrics that they did theirs on. And I didn't like it, and I didn't like how the pink showed up on that. I didn't like the bright leaf wasn't going to show up, which is where the spools are. So I took it all out, and I think that I'm going to use, and this is a fabric from Luminous Fiber Arts, 40 count. It's called Sweet Pink, and I think that's going to be really pretty. Let's see. You know, when I am changing out fabrics, I always want to make sure, and here's color talk again, because you know we've talked color a lot in my videos, but I talk color because to me it's important to personalize your projects when you're stitching on them. It makes it more special to you. It makes it more to your liking if you're using colors that you love. Look back on some of my past color videos, because I've talked about sometimes when you're doing a piece and you love the pattern, but it's just, you start stitching it and you're just not feeling it. A lot of times it's because there's a color or a few colors in there that are tones that you don't necessarily like. Maybe it's the warm version of a green and you're more of a cool green person, or vice versa. You are stitching with a cool green and you really want to warm it up and have a warm green. So it makes a lot of sense to learn a little bit more about color. And when I pick colors on my own, then I look and see how does it play with the actual fabric. Now this is a warmer pink fabric. I don't know if that's showing up very well. I say it's warmer because it has a little more of a peachy tone rather than a blue pink kind of a tone. And the colors that I've pulled are pretty warm colors. Even the teals, although they're blue, they're more warm colors. So I think all of these play really well on this fabric. The fabric I used last night was also warm fabric. So in this case, it wasn't a matter of warm on warm and that's why I didn't like it. It was just a case of, I don't know, those tones, those colors just didn't look right. But that's the thing. When you start stitching on something and you realize, I'm not liking this, I'm not motivated to continue working on it, kind of sit and analyze and figure out why you don't like it. Because it could be, if you make a change, you make a fabric change, you make just a couple of colors change, it's going to be totally different and you're going to love it the way you loved it when you bought the pattern itself. So give yourself options when you're not liking something to trade them out. So I'm going to restart that tonight at Stitch Night at the shop. If you're local to us, or if you're visiting us from somewhere else and you'd like to join us for Stitch Night on Wednesday nights from 6 to 8, or stitching afternoons on Saturdays from 1 to 4, please just email us. We'd love to have you join us. It's always fun when out-of-towners join us, especially because then we get to know new people. So, all right, so that's my plan for tonight, is to work on that. Let's see what's next. Oh, okay, speaking of plans, and here's my cat thing. So I'm not gonna say obsessed with this fabric line, but so far I have not gotten tired of it, and I've bought it in a lot of different project bags and things. So it's Tabby Road, what did they call it? The redo, Tabby Road, the second version of Tabby Road, and I love this. So here's one thing I have, and this is the one I'm going to show you more of, but this is the line, and there's a lot of coordinating fabrics. And this was, I bought this from Thread Good Vibes on Etsy. I just checked, she has more of these in a couple of different, in this pattern, in the blue pattern, and in a couple different patterns. It's not cheap, but there's so much in here, and I will show you it. I've showed you this one before, but I'm loving using this, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. But I also bought it in this and this. These two are from Becky Stevens, who lives in Wyoming, and she makes tons of project bags. I'm talking to her about getting some for the shop. And then I also bought it in this big piece from Rock Baby Scissors. This is the one that has all of the pockets and things on the inside. So someday I will get tired of this fabric, but it's not happened yet. I feel like, do you remember, was it in the 90s, for those of you who are my age? Vera Bradley had a pattern called Java Blue, and it was beautiful blues and browns, and I just wanted everything in Java Blue. I'm kind of going through that phase in this Tabby Road where I want everything in it. But okay, this is what I wanted to show you. So this is my little folio of my smalls that I want to do in the next month or two. And everything is kitted up in here. The pattern is in here, and I love how it all fits. Like, I'm going out of town on a trip tomorrow to St. Louis, and I'm taking this, and this is everything I need. I don't need anything else to go with me for projects. So it has a zipper here, and then it opens up here. And it has, this is why, even though it's not cheap, I would not make this myself. There are too many zippers, there's vinyl, everything has to fit together. I have the July birthday cat. I have a couple of Christmas things for Birds of a Feather that I need to do. I tuck my magnetic board in the back. So these are all projects that I need to finish in the next couple of months. Actually, this top one I'm going to have by next time. So that's a start that I got to do pretty quick. All right, so that is my love of cat fabric from Tula Pink, Tabby Road. And what it has 5 zippers, 4 pouches, and it's very sturdy front and back. So she used really sturdy, not batting, whatever it's called. Anyway, I just love how it all comes together. And if you've got a series of projects to do, or you've got several smalls that you want to have kitted in something, it's a perfect size for smalls and to keep a lot of stuff together. All right, let's talk about the new Birds of a Feather thing that were out this month. And then I've got my 3 things, giveaway, shop things. And then we're done. All right, so this month, yeah, I'm telling you what, we're working on this stuff all the time for you guys. This month we have, okay, first of all, do you ever watch, it's on the cooking shows now. Do you ever watch cooking shows and the participants say, somebody gives them advice or somebody gives them a direction and they say, heard, like, got it, heard you, I'm acknowledging. So you're saying, your stuff's on fire behind you, heard, which I think is kind of weird, but I just started noticing it in the last few months. So I want to say heard to you all, because when I shared the March cat with you last month, y'all told me that I was wrong, that the March cat is actually, I'm looking it up because if I say it wrong again, the March cat is actually an Irish flag with shamrocks. Okay, it's not a 4-leaf clover, although I still might make it into a 4-leaf clover, but it is an Irish flag with shamrocks. Heard, got it. All right, the cat for this month, and remember these are French cats, so the title is always spelled the French way, is the April birthday cat, Avril. Isn't that cute? Little checkerboard slicker, purple umbrella, red boots, a little green pocketbook. And here is my finish of that cute little thing. Even if I didn't love cats, I would love these cats because each month they're dressed in such fun things. And if I had thought this through, I mean, it wouldn't make as nice of a cover for these, but I wish I would have stitched them all in one piece because I think that would look really cute. Just 6 and 6, I think, is how I would do it. You could do 3, 3, and 3, and 3, 4 rows of 3. But I think I'd like it long and narrow. Anyways, they would be super fun to do all in one. But this little lady is ready for her April showers. I love the checkerboard. So that is the first one, and we have it, of course, as just a pattern, or we also have a kit. These are the colors for the kit. That's 36 count cappuccino by weeks. Again, I only order Zweigart weeks. I don't order old weeks. So that is April birthday cat. And since I was into the tomatoes for the picture, I just put tomatoes here and here. It's tomato month, apparently. All right, so that's the first one. I'm gonna seal this up and put it in the shop. The next one, and this is the start of a series of 4 houses, one for each season. And this one is called Spring Home. I like the big bird on top of the house, and also that he's holding an umbrella. He or she. So here's that. I did not stitch this. This is an original from the Birds of a Feather company. So this was their original model. And here's the kit for that. And that's on 32 count cream. So there you go, Spring Home. And there's a summer and a fall. And now that I say that, I can't remember what the winter looks like. I'm sure there's a winter. Let's go back and look at my big notebook of all the Birds of a Feather patterns. All right, and the last one is another one that y'all have asked me about quite often. And I'm going to show you well, first I'll show you this. This one is called Good Things. And this is so fun. So you've got the fishermen, but so much going on below, right? And the bottom says, good things come to those who wait. There's a mermaid, there's a crab, there's fish. Oh my goodness, he's in this little tiny boat. So, and here, look at these gorgeous colors. So this is 36 count cream. Look at how pretty those colors are. That's for the kit. So when I show you this picture, which came again from Birds of a Feather, this is lighter colors than the original colors it was charted in. So when I charted it, as I always do, I go off the colors that the designer originally charted in. I don't know if this one has faded or if it was done in lighter colors, but we photographed it and darkened them up for the cover to more match the actual colors in the called for kit. So here is Good Things. This is so cute. But again, that crab is orange. The mermaid hair is much darker, and this on the bottom is actually really dark, like black. So the words really pop. So that's the model. The picture itself has been darkened to more closely show you what it's actually going to look like. But really beautiful thread colors in this one. And it looks like a fun one to stitch. And I do like the frame that they picked, which is perfect with that outer border. So those are the 3 patterns for April. May, I believe, will have 4 patterns. So that's exciting. I say I believe they're ready. It's just whether I get the special, is that the one that had special threads? No, there's special threads for June that I'm waiting on. Anyway, we're always working on all of this stuff. So again, the little cat, those are all up on the website and available now. And if you're local to us, the samples will go up in the shop this week too. All right, let's talk about 3 things, which I do each time. These are just fun things that I am into, or I am enjoying, or I found out about that I want to share with you. And the first thing is these glasses. So these are Scojo gels. I have been wearing these Scojos for probably 15 years. I'm not exactly sure when they came up with these, but I've probably been wearing them since they first started. I wear these every day, all day long for the last 14 or 15 years. The reason I love these readers so much is because they're super lightweight. So I don't even pay attention to them on my nose. I don't feel them. I work on the computer all day at the shop. I stitch at night, and even though I have a magnifying lamp, I still have my readers on. And they're just the best, most lightweight, most comfortable glasses I've ever worn, which is why I've worn them for 14 years every day. So, and I like this that I can look over, because for me, I told you before, I have good eyesight far away and not good eyesight up close. So when I'm stitching, I need to be able to look here, but then look over my glasses to see my chart. But even if you're somebody who, needs the far away, you can put them up enough that, you can see far away or see close. For me, I just like putting them down a little bit as I'm working on it so I can see above them. So we got these into the shop, and y'all bought out all the 3.0s immediately. So I've reordered more 3.0s, but we have them in 1.5 up to 3. So anyways, if you're looking for good readers that you will be addicted to, that's my number 1 of the 3 things, is these Scojo gels, which I love. All right, my next thing is, okay, this book, it's not a reading book, not a book with words. It's called Every Day is Epic, and it's your life in your own words. If you're somebody like me who needs to write things down or make lists or see things put down on paper because it helps you remember them or think through them or whatever, this is a super fun book. What it has a lot of different pages of graphics. I think it's like, not a bullet journal, because bullet journal is minimalistic. More of just a fun, this is the kind of artist I wish I could be. I wish I knew these things. So for example, you get different pages like this. So 3 wishes and today's headline and friends you're rooting for. And then here you can just do, it says epic meter. I just write whatever in those, whatever I'm thinking about. Sometimes I make lists, but every page is different, and they're fun to use because you're making a list, you're writing down goals, you're writing down favorite quotes or verses or sayings. And it's fun to fill in. I've had a good time doing this. In fact, I like mine so much that I bought a second blank one for when I fill this one up. And I have filled a lot of the front pages already. So this Every Day is Epic. I link to all these things in my notes below. But check that out if you're somebody like me that likes to write things down, and they're fun to look back on. They do repeat some in different colors. So I'm at a point now where I do my page, and I don't know, I do maybe one a week or a couple a week, or then sometimes I go 2 or 3 weeks, and you know, I don't have a schedule everyday thing. But it's fun for me now to look back on, okay, this is how I'm filling this out today. How did I fill that out, you know, 2 years ago when I started this or whatever. So that's kind of fun too. All right, the third thing is an Instagram account that I came across that I love. It's called Daily Choirs, all one word. I think it's all one word. Let me double check. Daily Choirs on Instagram. There are a few different daily choirs. So this one has, one of the most recent ones that they did was a choir singing Bohemian Rhapsody, but it's different choirs every day. And I don't know if you grew up in choir. I was in choir in high school, and I have so many good memories of being in choir, and I love the sound of choirs. You know, whether it's kids choirs or adult choirs or, you know, whatever. I just think that music is so beautiful. So they feature different choirs every day, and it's just a fun one to look in on. So check out Daily Choirs on Instagram. All right, question of the day. How many hours a day on average do you think you stitch? I know it varies greatly. It varies greatly for me. There's some days when I maybe stitch for an hour. Some days when I stitch for 5 hours. I stay up way too late. I don't go to bed till 1 or 1:30. I'm really trying to dial that back, but I just don't get tired, and that's good stitching time. So I usually stitch after dinner till bedtime. And so, like I said, some nights we've got stuff going on and it's maybe an hour I slip in there, but some nights I get a really good stretch. So if you feel like answering in the comments, how many hours a day do you think you stitch? All right, let's go back to the winner. Oh, I did not write this on a big piece of paper. So you'll just have to listen carefully to see if you were the winner. So this is from Joyful Stitching Store on Etsy. I will link to those below. But Deborah wonderfully donates these project bags for my FlossTube, and she includes a little accessory bag, and this one was cats. And so I asked you in the comments to tell me, use the word pet in the comments, or pets, if you wanted to be entered into this drawing. And I had such a good time reading about all of your pets. I was really wishing that each of you had put in pictures. I don't think you can do that on comments, but I would have loved to have seen all of these pets that you guys shared about in the comments. But Audrey Fleming 8036, Audrey Fleming 8036, you are the winner. I did the random drawing generator, and you won this. So if you will email me, my email is below, and we will get this shipped out to you. Really cute. All right, then I have another project bag to give away, but also 2 magazines to give away. So this month is Teresa Kogut fabric, adorable rabbits. It's very springy. Rabbits, the robin sitting on the nest, flowers. I don't know about you, but I think some of you have been experiencing spring for 2 months now. We had snow last week, snow on my lilacs, which is always so sad. But March and April are our snowiest months, and so we can always count on some kind of snow going on. So it is really just starting to be spring around here. So let's see, what do we want to? There's somebody at my doorbell. Somebody at my door. I'm just going to let that go. What word should we use? So if you are interested in winning this, just use the word spring. Maybe tell me what your favorite spring flower is. Mine are lilacs or hyacinths. You can tell me what you're doing, what you did for spring break. You can tell me what you did for fun this spring. Just use the word spring if you'd like to be in this drawing for next month. Okay, then the other thing is this, and this just cracks me up. So I was organizing all my stitching stuff last week, and I had realized I have 3 copies of this magazine. So people donate things to the shop from their stash because we have a little section in back of gently used patterns and gently used magazines. And what we do is we sell them, and 100% of the cost of all of these goes to the Humane Society. So we just sell them purely for charity. And so when things come in, I look through them, and if I like one of those patterns, then I buy it, put the money in the charity little bag that we have, and keep it. So I apparently have liked this pattern a lot 3 times because I have saved 3 copies of this magazine. So here it is, and it's the cover picture that I love and want to stitch sometime. Isn't that so beautiful? I have 3 copies. I kept 1 for myself. Now I will know never to pull this out again. I think each time I think, do I have this at home? Did I get this one? Well, I'm not sure, so I better keep this next one. So I'm going to give away these 2. If anybody would like a copy, I will pick 2 people to give this to. And if you would like to win or receive one of these, let's use the word ice for ice skating, just the word ice. So you have the word spring and you have the word ice. All right, so those are the giveaways for next time. Now, real quick, let's just go through a few things new from the shop that I wanted to share with you guys, and then we'll be done. So we added in, well, I wanted to show these pretty scissors that I brought back from Market, and I don't think I showed you this the last time. These are close cut. So the tip of that scissor is just scooped a little bit so you can get right down and really trim the close ends of your threads. This I love because I love the teal pouch sheath. And that one is North Coast. And then this one is Lady Liberty. So there's Lady Liberty in the handles. So these 3 special scissors. I've added in gloves in a bottle because this helps my hands so much. It's not greasy. I put it on, I wait like a minute, and then I can stitch. And what it does is it forms a protective barrier on your hands so that your own oils from your hands can moisturize your hands instead of putting a lot of extra lotions and things on. So it gives you a protective barrier. And so I love using this. I have this size next to my stitching chair. I actually have this size next to my on my nightstand too. And then there's a smaller size in a tube that I have in my purse, that I keep in my purse. But they also sent me some little free samples, and so while these last, they sent me a ton of these. If you order one of the bigger sizes, we'll tuck one of these in too. And this, I think, is good to keep in your stitching, your little stitchy box. Like if you go to a retreat, there's 2 to 4 applications in here because really it takes such a little bit. So we'll send it to you in a little baggie, a little Ziploc bag. What I would do if you're at a retreat is just use your needle and poke a pinhole in it and then get the lotion out with the pinhole and then keep it in that Ziploc bag so that it stays good so that you can use it the whole weekend you're at that retreat. Then we got these interesting needle minders from Lori Holt, designed by Lori Holt. So this one I love because, you know, I love tomatoes, obviously. I love tomatoes. So, but it's big, isn't it? It's a bigger than normal size, and I like the bigger sizes because you can also put your scissors on there as well as your needles. But then there's 2 more that are big. The snowman, I had to have him. And then this one they actually call a scissor minder, and it's a lot bigger. But I think you can easily do scissors on any of these 3 sizes. If you, like, I use a magnetic board when I stitch to put my pattern on, but I also have a lamp with a metal base next to me, and I keep a lot of stitch markers, and not stitch markers, that's knitting. Look, the mag dots, magnets, and needle minders on that lamp. So these are fun, bigger ones though. And then also she's got a couple of cute charms to put on your scissors or on your project bags. I love this red stork one. So I have that. Let's see. I just added in this pretty new Voice of the Garden from Erica Michaels. This is another one I was going to show you because I kitted that up. Where did I put that? Where did that end up? Here it is. So this is Mrs. Patmore's Sweet Home. And here are the colors because I kitted it up for my own self. I love that. It's going to be a quick stitch, and I love the long, narrow look of the pillow. I'm going to have to put that in my little folio of smalls. And then we added in Eden Berry from Erica Michaels. And look, I got the little sample. Little Garden of Eden tree with Adam and Eve on it. Isn't that cute? I don't know, does that show up? Sometimes at market, the designers will sell some of their models along with patterns to go with them. So I was really happy to get this cute little sample model, although I would have stitched this myself because I think it's really cute. So added in Jean Farish's alphabet workbook. It has 34 uppercase, 24 lowercase, 26 number sets, blank graph paper, how-tos. So it is a book, a reference book for you, for when you're adding initials or signatures or just words or verses to your own pieces. Right, and then I also added in, now what did I do with those other? Here we go. Also added in antique needleworkers at market, just had the opportunity to put them up finally. And for the MC sampler, I went ahead and got the silk packs. She had Vicki Clayton silk packs, and since it was only 2 colors, I thought that would be cool to put that in there. So we have some sets of those. This is such a cute idea, needle card collection, stitched on perforated paper. And you can see there's a little piece of felt that you actually put on that, and then you can put needles in there and hand those out to friends. It's a cute idea. She has morning prayer. And then the bees, be kind, which of course I love because it's heart and hand. Be true. Be loyal. And be thankful. So, oh, here are the other 2 sizes of gloves in a bottle at the bottom of my bin here. And I don't know if I've shown you this, but I have these pin keeps for sale in the shop. I think I did show you, because now that I think about it, I think somebody asked me how to find them. I think you just put pin keep in the search bar, but aren't these cute? It comes with the cute little pins and tomato. I need to have one back there in my tomato display. So those are latest and greatest things from the shop, which of course we're adding to every single week. So be sure that you sign up for our newsletter. You can do that at the bottom of our homepage. I send out the newsletter every Wednesday afternoon at 1 o'clock Colorado time. Always the same time because I write it on Tuesday and schedule it to automatically go out to you on Wednesday, 1 o'clock Mountain Time. So be sure and sign up for that for our latest. If I don't get to come back in May to do a FlossTube, then watch for the newsletter on details on how to upload your photos for cross stitch camp. And I hope you're joining us for cross stitch camp, because it's always a lot of fun. And I love seeing what everybody's doing from month to month. Just fun to see how you guys interpret the challenges. I am heading to Australia at the end of May to do a retreat for my friend Tam. Super excited about going there. Cannot wait to share my piece that I designed for the retreat with you guys, which will be available in a year, but I still would love to show it to you. And so that's why I'm not sure if I'm going to come back and be able to FlossTube at the end of May. My plan is yes, but if things get crazy, then I probably won't be back till the middle of June, because I'm in Australia for a bit. So I think the next time though that I FlossTube, I'm going to show you my little stitching room, which I showed you a long time ago. I've changed a lot in there since then, but it's where I keep my patterns, my floss, my fabric, my fun little things. I'm looking here because it's right across the hall from me. And so I'm going to give you a little tour of that in my next video as well. All right, I think that's everything. So you've got your marching orders. How many times a day or how many hours a day do you stitch in general? Use the word spring if you want to be entered in the project bag, and use the word ice if you want to be entered for the 2 magazines I'm giving away. All right, thanks so much for joining me, and leave your comments below because I love talking to you in the comments, and I'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.